When you think superhero VR games, one that immediately comes to mind is Iron Man. Yet, it took them this long to create a proper Iron Man VR game. Welcome to Broken Screen, and today we are going to review the PSVR exclusive Iron Man VR.
Sir, we have a massive breach in the hull.
Old news, Friday. Tell me about something I didn't just jump out of.
Iron Man VR is a PSVR exclusive developed by Camouflage. The game is a showcase on some of the best that console VR has to offer, but also some of the worst. Let's start with the story. My knowledge on Marvel is limited to the movies and some of the 90s cartoon shows. Camouflage stated that the story was original and built from the ground up, which means that even casual fans like me can enjoy it, and the veterans can understand some of the hidden references. Iron Man VR begins with Tony Stark retiring from selling guns to dedicate himself to being Iron Man. In the tutorial section, we can use our suit guns to destroy the last combat drones and shut down Gunsmith, an AI that Tony created with his own image that specializes in building weapons. However, a ghost from Tony's past returns after some time and attacks him with his own combat drones. This ghost is also featured in the movie Ant-Man and the Wasp, but her story is completely different from the one in that movie. The game does a very good job at developing Ghost and her motivations, making us empathize with her and understand her quest for vengeance. The writing is also very good, and most of the characters are very charismatic. As expected, Tony is the billionaire super genius with the sarcastic joke always ready. Pepper and Friday are the counterweight that keeps Tony from becoming the warmonger that he should be. And Gunsmith represents the worst that Tony can become, should Pepper and Friday not be present in his life. The campaign lasts about 6 to 7 hours, with 12 chapters, plus a few side missions and challenges.
All systems online.
Moving on to gameplay, Camouflage did a great job at making us feel like Iron Man. Given the limitations of the PSVR controllers, the gameplay is simple, intuitive, and doesn't require many inputs to play on a good level. You use your triggers to fly and point the move wands to set the direction. If you point them backwards, you will fly onwards, and if you point them to the left or right, you will fly in the opposite direction. After a few seconds, you will fully understand how to fly like Iron Man. To use your weapons, you point your palms to align the target with your enemies, and press the move button to fire. If you point your wand to the ground, you can use your wrist weapons. There are also two other buttons that you can press to perform a rocket punch, and if you aim at the ground with your helmet, you can do a ground pound that throws your enemies into the air for some cool wombo combos. Finally, you have the Unibeam that charges as you destroy enemies, and you can use it to clear most of the enemies in any scenario. The only mechanic I didn't really like is the one where you use one hand to grab some containers and fly with the other. It feels awkward to fly with just one hand and not be able to correct the directions with the other, so expect to bump into a lot of walls during this. When you finish the mission, you get up to 5 points depending on your performance. These points are used to unlock upgrades and weapons for your suit. At the start, I thought you could use everything at the same time, but the game limits you to one upgrade per slot. You can also create a second loadout, but to be honest, I never felt the need to. This would be useful if you could switch builds during the levels to better adapt to your enemies. The upgrades themselves are actually useful. You can unlock powerful weapons like guided missiles or bombs, decrease the reload time, increase your speed or maneuverability, decrease reload time, or increase your survivability. There are even several skins you can unlock by completing certain challenges.
Hill gave us clearance to play around the helicarrier again. Let's give these pilots some inspiration. Time trial's up.
Now to talk about the worst part of the game, graphics and performance. The graphics on this game are really bland. They are very simple, there is no interaction with them and they feel like cardboard. But the worst part are the loadings. They are long and plentiful. They can also take minutes, which makes playing while standing just pure torture, and completely breaks the immersion. Sometimes you have a loading, a dialogue, and another loading. It is that bad. The soundtrack, however, is cool, with a lot of influences from heavy metal as expected from Iron Man. The voice acting is also really good and makes the characters feel really charismatic.
That gets the arc reactor pumping.
Iron Man VR is a good experience, with immersive and intuitive gameplay, and an interesting story that does enough to keep you wanting to play it. However, the PS3 era graphics and abusive loading times completely break that immersion, and turns what could be a really good game into a decent game. Hopefully, with the new consoles having faster storage, the developers can change the way they design the levels to completely avoid loadings.
Drones inbound.
Don't forget to tell us what you think of this game, and if you like our content, don't forget also to like, share and subscribe. See you on the next video.